Okay. So Jesper said, a year ago, you probably wouldn't have thought anything about RIM in the context of Qt. And a year ago, we were in the process of getting the roadmap laid out for BlackBerry 10, and a bunch of people inside the company said, we need to have some kind of an application framework that we can run on top of this, because while BlackBerry 10 is great for games today with its POSIX APIs, it's really not something you can build a sophisticated application on yet. After a bit of hemming and hawing and back and forth and discussion internally, and folks like George Stykos, who's the VP of our web platform and had been a former Qt developer, said, hey, you know what, we can use this Qt thing. So November 22nd, we signed on to the Qt contributor agreement and began to use Qt in our products. And you all know about Qt, obviously. What I'm here to do today is tell you a little bit about BlackBerry and the business opportunities that RIM can make for you in your development work. So, little known facts. Hands up if you knew that BlackBerry developers make more money than any other developers in mobile today. So these are statistics from an analyst firm by the name of Vision Mobile. And you can go and download this report for yourself. They make it freely available on their website. Vision Mobile calculates that BlackBerry users on average, or developers on average, make 4% more money than iOS, but a whopping 35% more per month than Android. So pretty compelling numbers those are. I think the other thing that's really interesting about this is that iOS apps are actually 21% more expensive to develop than Android applications, according to Vision Mobile again. And that makes them a whopping 81% more expensive to develop than a BlackBerry application. So when you put that all together, if you're thinking about what you want to do, if you're building a small business, more revenue, lower costs, equals more profits, equals faster time to break even for your development efforts. Pretty compelling stuff. Our next release, which you've heard probably by now, is an operating system called BlackBerry 10. BlackBerry 10 is a completely different beast from the BlackBerry that you might have known before. Anybody ever do any programming in BlackBerry Java? Wow. You can tell we've been really successful in Europe. Really. This is a greenfield opportunity. So anything that you've heard that was sucky about BlackBerry Java, put it out of your head, because it's a different beast, BlackBerry 10 is. BlackBerry 10 is a modern operating system built on top of the QNX operating system, which RIM acquired 3 years ago. POSIX APIs, you can program it in a number of different ways. It's a pretty sophisticated piece of software. And as we went about the process of building the BlackBerry 10 user experience, one of the things that we went back to was sort of first principles. Who's the BlackBerry 10 customer? Who is the BlackBerry customer themselves? And there's some pretty interesting things that we found out as we started to dig into it. When we talk about BlackBerry people, and they're people that are primarily success-driven. And they define success on their own terms. I'm not talking about just business people, but there are musicians, there are sports figures, anybody who is really driven to communicate and succeed in different ways. So one of the things that we found out is, 91% of them use tools like calendar and so on a very daily basis. They're very, very driven folk. They place a huge value on their networks. 26% of them communicate with 50 or more people weekly. And they're hyper-connected. 87% of them access social networking sites on a daily basis. And that's versus 63% average on any other platform that's out there. And they do all kinds of things all the time. We talk about them as crazy multitaskers. So they're very, very driven to succeed, very driven to accomplish different things. And at the heart of what a BlackBerry user is somebody who communicates. And that's quite different from the vision that the smartphone has had for really the last 5 years. The industry has been about, let's go merge a media device with a phone and see what comes out of it. Well, at RIM, we took it back to first principles and we said fundamentally a phone is a communications device. Let's build something that's relationship focused, that helps people who want to communicate be better communicators. So I'm going to ask Ash, he's one of our evangelism team, to come up on stage for a couple minutes and give you a quick look at what BlackBerry 10 actually looks like. Ash Nazir.
Thank you. Just 1 second. Just 1 second while I get set up.
He's got a bit of a sore throat, so.
Yeah. I was just going to.
Voice change module we put into the headset.
Okay.
Sorry about the aspect ratio here. It's a bit squished, I think. Yeah.
Whoa. Just lost signal for a second. So hi, so this is a quick little demo of the BlackBerry 10 OS, and we just want to show you a few different things about the user interface and the user experience that we're providing. So initially, here's the lock screen, and as you can see, it initially shows us initial notifications, the times, any pertinent calendar events that are coming up. So we've obviously got the Qt conference coming up. And to wake the device up, all I need to do is put my finger on the actual lock screen itself. And here you can slowly bring the device to life. Now there's lots of developers. Thank you. A bit of foot stomping as well, please. and a lot of developers, and including myself, do actually like that. Once you get the phone out of your pocket, you're not looking for a power button, a home button, a back button, anything. You just swipe, and you're in, you're ready to go. So initially, you've got the familiar application window here, and a lot of these tend to be sort of standard apps, and you can actually see where the icons flow from one screen to the next. And this is all part of what we call BlackBerry Flow. So, you know, we can flow from one screen to another quite effortlessly. And then if we launch an application, see what that looks like. So here's contacts, which might actually have a lot of you in here, because I'm fortunate enough to know a lot of you guys as well. Once you've got an application launched, if you want to multitask it, all you do is swipe up, and that'll minimize the application to a tile. And then if you go ahead and launch another application, say if we go into the browser, and I hope the Wi-Fi handles this. Okay, and let's go back again. So as you can see, that's minimized, and we can easily multitask between these screens as well. And we can go back to the application menu. Now, at any point, what we can do is peek, what we call peek into any notifications that you might have. And that simple gesture that you swipe from the bottom of the screen up. Whoops, this is a live demo. And here you can see on the left, I've got LinkedIn notifications, Facebook, etc. And then it's up to me if I want to action them particular notifications, or if I want to go into another app. And wherever I am, we can peek back into any of them notifications. And this is now quite a useful thing. If I want to act on any of them notifications, all I do is I swipe up and then to the right. And here I'm in the BlackBerry Hub, which is basically your unified inbox, and we've got all your tweets, all your LinkedIn messages, etc., coming into one central spot. So, you know, you can easily action stuff, and if we click compose, you're ready to compose a message, etc., and that's available wherever you are. So if we're in an application as such, we can go back, etc. Another useful feature of the BlackBerry Hub is if you scroll to the top, you've always got the conference. Sorry, not always got the conference. It will finish at some point. You've got your current meetings or anything that you might have for today or tomorrow. So that's always accessible at the top. So if we select that, now here it's got the details, and you can see at the top it's got what people. Actually, it's quite faded out, so you might not quite be able to see it. But what people you've got invited to this particular meeting. So you can select that. Unfortunately, I haven't got that set up on this particular device, but you can select the people that are going to be attending that particular conference, and then have a look at what's your last communication with them, what have you been talking about, what's the purpose, etc. And you can drill down to that person. But you haven't left the calendar, and you haven't left the BlackBerry Hub. We can just peek back, and we can see exactly where we are. We've got another settings there for emails. So what that'll do, it'll collate all the emails about that particular meeting. And if you're running late, and we've all done it, and you've got 10 minutes to get in, and it's a quick recap. What was the meeting about? Who said what were the action points? So it puts you in the frame of mind to get things done, which traditionally, with BlackBerry users, we're about getting things done. And that's, our BlackBerry user that we've identified. That these are the sort of things that they want to do. So just show you another bit. So we're going to go into text messaging. Actually, I can go. So text messaging, compose. Here we've got the BlackBerry keyboard. You're going to say, hey, all keyboards are the same. No, they're not. BlackBerry is very proud of our heritage of keyboards. We've got some of the best QWERTY keyboards on the planet, and we don't want to be second best when it comes to virtual keyboards. So here we can start typing something. So I'm going to type, whoops, let's not do that. Sorry, that was in the to field. Okay, so let's type I'm. So as soon as I've pressed I, it's predicting what are the next words that I'm going to be writing. So if you look above M, it's got I am. And if we want to actually action that, all we do is we flick up, and it completes that particular word, and then it puts a space. So I'm. We're going to type presenting. Presenting. And actually, probably helps if I spell correctly.
It got it correct. You got it right.
It got it right, but I was going off somewhere else. I was going off to La La Land. So presenting, go at the Qt conference. Now, as you can see, it's completed that quite well. So the idea is, you're jumping on a plane, you've got a quick message to get out, you've got a laptop in one hand, you're tripping over some old woman in front of you, and you've got to get this quick message out. So, you can quickly type it out, send. So that is something that we're,
How many of you have ever had to mix words from different languages in a sentence? Yeah. I would figure so with the European crowd. It can automatically switch languages on the fly. The predictive text just figures it out and continues. So if you need to switch English to Spanish to German to French along the way, not a problem. It's pretty slick.
Just, yes, that's it.
That it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, my throat's...
Go save your throat. I've got one more demo for him to do later. We'll save that.
Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Cheers.
The reason why they put me in management is because I can't attach things. Okay, so that was BlackBerry 10, the demo. Pretty slick stuff, right? It does some pretty cool stuff. When we talk about this to a developer audience, we talk about really three things, three themes that make a great BlackBerry 10 application. They're integrated, they're social, and they're beautiful to look at. So what does that mean? When we talk about beautiful, we've given the tools within the BlackBerry 10 platform for you to be able to create applications that flow in the same way as what you just saw there. So you can create an application that knows how to execute the peek gesture, that can slip easily from one application to the next using those flow capabilities. And that's a key part, it's a signature part of the BlackBerry 10 user experience. And when we talk about social, these are connected apps. They are apps that use gamification. There's a whole series of gamification APIs that are built into the platform itself. And there's a thing in there called the share framework. The share framework lets you plug in arbitrary social sharing mechanisms and then invoke the framework so that you can share information to arbitrary social networks or other stores. So it's designed from the ground up to be a very social experience that can share information. When we talk about integrated, the BlackBerry Hub, you saw a whole bunch of our applications in there, but the BlackBerry Hub is a place that you can use to notify users about your application as well, because you can automatically insert things into that unified box that will tell users what it is that they should be looking for. For example, if you're a Foursquare user, which many people are, Foursquare can go ahead and insert notifications that people that you know are in the same place as you into the BlackBerry Hub. So those are those three sort of key core concepts, integrated, social, and beautiful, that make for a great BlackBerry 10 application. One of the things that I'm particularly passionate about is the quality of applications. I don't know if any of you ever heard me speak before, but I certainly think that our users want to have great applications in the store. And I think that when we start to get caught up in discussions of how many applications versus the quality of what's in that store, people get confused. To me, the number isn't the thing that matters. And proof positive of this is this particular statistics. We pulled these numbers out of the 105,000 applications that are currently available in BlackBerry App World, and we noted that apps that are rated 4 or higher in terms of stars from users out of a 5-star scale generate in excess of 50% of the income in the store. So it's worthwhile to spend time to build an application that uses the BlackBerry 10 experience and provides a quality experience for the customer. To that end, we're actually putting our money where our mouth is on this one. There's a program that we unveiled last May called the BlackBerry $10,000 commitment, the 10K commitment. And the way it works is this. Build an application that passes BlackBerry 10 certification, and the BlackBerry 10 certification is a step of certification above just getting into the store. It says that you've used some of those great BlackBerry 10 features, and it says that you have taken care to make sure that your application doesn't do things like hog memory and those kinds of things. So it's well behaved, and it is a certified BlackBerry 10 experience. If you do those things, and it only works for paid applications, and you earn at least $1,000 worth of revenue. So you can't game the system by having your buddy go out and buy 10 copies for $1, right? And expect it to work that way. But if you've earned $1,000 on your own Steam, we'll commit that you'll earn $10,000 in the first year. So that means that at the end of the first year of your application being in market, if you've made 6, we'll write you a check for the other 4. And we expect and hope to be not writing too many of those checks. We expect and hope to have lots and lots of high quality applications in the store with this kind of a commitment behind it. So that's what the BlackBerry 10K developer commitment is, and I think I've just gone ahead and cleared my entire next slide. Be approved through the Built for BlackBerry program, be submitted by the deadline, generate a minimum of $1,000 in earnings over a designated 12-month period. The 12-month period begins when we launch the product on January 30th. So if you're interested in taking advantage of this, your application has to be certified and approved for BlackBerry App World by January 21st. Burn that date in your brain. The store is actually open now. We've been accepting submissions since October 10th. And I can tell you that we're building quite a pool of good applications for our users to be able to be able to work with. At last count, we had in the range of about 15,000 that were going to be available. Our goal with BlackBerry 10 is to build the largest ever Generation 1 ecosystem that has been seen in mobile to date. When I say Generation 1, first launch of a product, right? So we'll get out there and have a very substantial catalog available to our customers, including many of the big names that you would expect to be on the platform. We've got a corresponding effort of the business development team that's going around the world today that's searching out all the top media properties and all the top application properties and getting them to port to the platform, and we're doing very well with that. Speaking of the storefront, one of the things that people always want to know about when they start to talk about building applications and getting them into stores. Well, the storefront reach here is pretty good. We have over 80 million subscribers, and that number is growing. Despite the reports that you read in the press, yes, we do increase the number of subscribers every single month. The other thing that you should be aware of is it seems like every other day somebody says, well, BlackBerry's going to go bankrupt, aren't they? How many of you heard that story? Yeah? I ask you this question. How does a company with $2 billion in cash in the bank and no debt go bankrupt tomorrow? Yeah, well, that's Nokia, this man says up front. Anyway, I didn't say that. And I certainly would never repeat such a thing. Okay, so we're in 170 markets. We have over 3 billion applications downloaded. Downloads in 2012 have already passed downloads in 2011. Unique downloads are growing at a dramatic rate. The store is a great and undersold facility that's available to you to be able to market your applications. And App World has some great characteristics associated with it as well. One of the things that we're particularly proud of is the extent to which we've implemented carrier billing for our customers. Carrier billing, what does that mean? It means that you can simply put the cost of building an application or buying an application onto your phone bill. Very popular in developing markets. One of the things that we have seen is that when we implement carrier billing in a market, and it takes the cooperation of the carrier to do it, but when we implement it, downloads double and revenues go up by 70% in that marketplace. So it's a pretty fantastic way to have a friction-free purchase experience for the customer. And we're very committed to continuing to roll it out. We're in 40 countries now. Another thing that I hear on a fairly regular basis is, people saying, well, it must be hard to build applications for this. And the truth of the matter is, we can pretty much take any source code base you've got and bring it to the platform. So you've got many choices. You can build in HTML5. How many of you build applications in HTML5? None. This is the Qt Developer Conference, isn't it? So anyway, we've got great HTML5 support. Enough said. There's a tool in there called WebWorks as well. WebWorks does two things. One of them is that it gives you some JavaScript extensions that let you get access to the native capabilities of the device for things that aren't already available in the HTML5 standard. And WebWorks also lets you take an HTML5 application and package it. So it's not just running on the web anymore. Package it up. It's actually some code that we developed with the folks at PhoneGap. And put that into the store. So you can now go ahead and sell it and find a way to monetize that HTML5 application. There's also native programming capabilities, C and C++. We've got Qt on there as a framework as well. A framework of our own called Cascades. Applause down here from the front. Thank you very much. If you've got Adobe Air and ActionScript code, you can work with that as well. Or if you have even, heaven forbid, Android code, you can bring Android code onto the platform. It takes about 10 minutes to package up an Android application and put it into our store. And the way that's done is you run it through a packaging tool that outputs a BlackBerry bar file. It works with Android 2.3. We're not up to Jelly Bean yet. And there are some caveats with the Android packager. If you're using things like Google Maps and all the bits that Google licenses for money, since we use the open source version of Android, those pieces won't work. But about 60–70% of applications that are built in Android will. It's a very, very simple and easy way to dip your toe in the market and find out whether or not you really want to be a BlackBerry developer. Okay. The platform itself. And you can see one of the things that we've done here is rely pretty heavily on different frameworks and different pieces of open source that are available. So at the base, you've got what you'd expect, a bunch of open APIs built around standards like OpenGL and POSIX. There are a whole series of different frameworks available to you. If you go to blackberry.github.com, you will find ports of all kinds of different frameworks. It's not uncommon for us to see people who have written portable C++ code on platforms like iOS complete a port in a day because we provided just a huge plethora of open source building blocks you can work with. Everything from scripting languages like Lua to modules like OpenAL or Cocos 2DX. They're all available there. Just blackberry.github.com. And also commercial frameworks. So game developers use things like Unity and Marmalade and so on. Those are available too. Platform APIs come above that, and they're built with Qt Core. And then you have a choice as an application developer of either using Cascades, which is the windowing framework that we've built, and it's built around QML and other things like that as well. Or you can go ahead and just take your straight Qt code and use that there. As signatories to the agreement, we also committed that we would make all of Qt available to the development community on the platform natively. That's Qt 4.8, but it's all there. It's all there. You can use it. Okay. So I'm going to ask Ash to come up here again. He's got a very quick, short demo just to show you that it's actually real. There is Qt code running on this platform. Yes. Does Flash work? Yes, yep. Flash does work, and with Air you've got access to actually all the BlackBerry 10 experience as well. So it's kind of cool.
So here, a very quick example of what you can do with Qt on the device. This is one of our engineers got together this particular application, and it's basically a Qt Quick application with some bindings for Box 2D. And it just shows you that what you can create very quickly by using the physics engine of Box 2D to get an application running and looking reasonably quite good on the platform itself. So that's just a quick example of what you can do in a relatively short period of time.
What sensor you've got bound into that?
Interesting. We did have the geosensors plugged in, but unfortunately we're developers and we like playing around, and we did a little change and we broke
You broke
that.
it.
I didn't break it, but yeah.
All right.
But yeah, it was an interesting point that you brought up.
Bad.
Okay. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Should I plug that one?
Yeah, just plug it back in for me.
Cheers. Thank you.
It's real code anyway, because it broke.
Well, that's the proof that it's real code.
Okay. So there's if you've been down past our booth recently or have seen any of the other presentations, you know that there's not very much work at all that's required to make Qt GUI apps work on BlackBerry 10. So if you've already developed an application for other platforms and you want to turn the application onto BlackBerry 10 within a very short period of time, you can compile it and then run the application on BlackBerry 10 with minimal effort. People are down in the booth right now helping people who want to port over, and it's taking 10, 20 minutes in most cases. And by the way, if you've got code with you and you want to try it out and you want to get it ported over, there's a $100 reward available to anybody who ports their application down there. So I guess the one thing I would like to say is that BlackBerry 10, it's the only platform that exists today where you can actually take that code and just put it there and make it run. So we're pretty committed to this community. If you want to go a step further to develop one of those signature BlackBerry 10 experiences, around the concepts of integrated and social and beautiful, then and that's how you get access to the BlackBerry 10K commitment program. Then you've got to build some stuff with Qt and Cascades. And Cascades sits on top of the Qt modules, the engine, the Qt declarative engine, and XML, and so on. And Qt 4.8 is used as the basis of this, and it's the way that you can go ahead and build an application that is a true signature BlackBerry 10 application. So I guess the good news is, if you know Qt, then you know BlackBerry 10, which is pretty cool. And if you've played with it a little bit and you want to get a little bit further and you decide, well, boy, I would really like to have a device to be able to work with, we have been giving these things out like candy. BlackBerry 10 Dev Alpha device is a developer's device. It has substantially the same characteristics as the final device will, except that the final device won't have that ugly plastic housing around the outside edge. It'll look much nicer. Send email to blackberrydeveloperprogram@rim.com, and we'll find you a device that you can work with to test your applications. Okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about HTML5. We're doing an awful lot of work around HTML5, driving a ton of innovation here. We are contributors to WebKit, and we bought a company a couple years ago called Torch Mobile that was very, very much in the WebKit world. I think that the thing that I would like to emphasize with this community is not so much HTML5 itself, but rather the commitment that we're making to the various different communities. So we're strong believers in open source, strong believers in open frameworks. I think that, you go back to that slide where you saw earlier with all the different ways that you can build an application that runs on BlackBerry 10. I think we're fundamentally the most open platform in mobile today. If you've got code from just about any source, you can bring it. And in the same way that we became committers to WebKit, and we open sourced Ripple, which is our HTML5 simulation environment, we intend to have the same kind of commitment to this community. So I think that should be, that's something that I really want to emphasize. Thank you. The other thing about it too is we're not ones to lag behind on standards. So this is HTML5test.com. It is a 500-point testing regimen that's designed to test compliance with the standard. That's actually wrong. We don't score 465. The latest versions of the browsers score 484 out of 500 with 10 additional bonus points, making us hands down the most compliant browser in mobile, on desktop, in embedded, on any device in the world today. We intend to keep that. Similar concept. One of the things I had been, well, funny story here. When I started working for RIM, it was in July of last year, and I had been a developer building BlackBerry applications. And at the time, I thought, well, I'd been with QNX years and years and years earlier. And I thought, well, RIM's gone and bought QNX. That's a pretty exciting development. I'd really like to work on that. And boy, they have a problem recruiting developers because, it was just horrible to work with RIM at the time. And so I started at the company on July 25th, the same day as we laid 2,500 people off, which made for a bit of excitement. I inherited a team that had 42 people, and 6 of them promptly quit, leaving me with 37. Morale was terrible, and we had this weird environment where we didn't talk to developers. We were running this little developer relations organization that did things like 3 weeks in advance of shipping a new product, we'd throw the code over the wall and say, okay, now you can build your apps. And we'd wonder why we didn't have any applications in the store when we launched the handset. So one of the things that we set out to do was to be fundamentally more open and more engaged with the developer community. And one of the ways that we did that, these are publicly available roadmaps. They're in sort of train station format. There's a whole series of different components, and if there's a component that you're waiting for, ask us and we'll put it up there on the arrival boards. And you can see which ones are planned, which ones have arrived already, which ones are going to be late, the actual release dates, and so on. And these are available on developer.blackberry.com. You can just go and look for them there. So one of the things that we're trying to do, and it's been well received, is to be as open as possible about what our plans are and when you should expect to see code from us that you can use in your applications. And I think that we're hearing great feedback. I don't know whether you're aware of this, but we just came off a 37-city world tour where we went out and talked to developers all over the world. I spent most of the summer in Asia, bopping around different cities, talking to developers. And at the end of every one of those sessions, I can tell you there were 2 pieces of feedback. One of them was, boy, we had no idea it was going to be so easy to build applications for BlackBerry 10. And the other is, RIM treats us better than anybody else does in mobile today. And we're proud of that. So very, very pleased with that outcome and pleased with the turnaround in a year's time that we've seen from the way that developers used to think about us. One of the keys to that is the developer relations team itself. I told you that we had 37 people after the 6 quit when I started. There are now 132 of us spread across the globe. There were a small number of developer relations folks in Europe before, but mostly what we had was a bunch of technical support people that were centralized in Waterloo. Now we have people in every major geography around the world. We have an evangelism team. Ash is one of the representatives of it. There are several other evangelists floating around this event that can help you navigate your way through what's going on at RIM, that can help you navigate your way to being able to build applications quickly and easily on our platform. We have a huge organization that provides feedback, technical support, and those kinds of things, and creates content for our websites. We've got a great website that's easy to navigate now, and we have a marketing team that's pretty talented that's going out there and helping us to spread the word around what's going on. So RIM is making some fairly substantial investments. I'll tell you that this year, the amount of money that we spend to build our ecosystem and recruit developers to our platform, and I'm not talking the amount of money that we would spend to buy applications. This is just on outreach and just on staff and everything else. It's going to exceed $100 million, which I think probably puts us, if not the most committed, we're definitely in the second or third in the category around the world. We intend to be a player here. How do you get started? Head over to developer.blackberry.com and download that SDK. Qt itself is supported directly on the BlackBerry 10 devices. If you've got a device, Qt's already on it. I know that some of you are working on Qt 5, and we'll get there. Right now, we're busily concerned with shipping a product by January 30th of this year, which means that taking on a whole new release and incorporating it, it's a little bit late. I don't know, have you ever heard the expression that shipping a platform is like freezing a bowl of Jell-O? You have to sort of start from the bottom, because if you freeze it at the top, it's going to tip over, right? So that's what we're in the process of doing right now, is delivering BlackBerry 10. And we'll get to Qt 5 shortly after that. The BlackBerry on Qt project wiki is there. The Qt porting guide that we've built as well. If you've got Qt code and you want to know what the Nicky Norks are of getting it onto the BlackBerry 10 platform, we've got information available with a porting guide that we've built as well. You just go to our blog and you can go get that. And if you run into trouble, there are 5 tech centers available to you. You can just drop in and go and chat with one of our evangelists or application design consultants. They're in Vancouver, Silicon Valley. I know it's a bit far away for you folks. There's one in London, there's one in India, there's one in Singapore, and within the next month, we're going to be launching another 5 across Europe. These have been a very successful concept for us, where our applications development support people will just hang out in one of these places and take questions. Sometimes we'll have specific days, you know, we're talking about this technology this day or that technology on another day, and there'll be porting labs and those kinds of things set up. But it's a place where you can go and get help immediately from a human being. And we run 3 annual conferences, the BlackBerry Jam conferences. We ran our September one in San Jose. November 29th and 30th is Jam Asia in Bangkok. If you're going to be in Bangkok, come by. It's going to be a blast. There's nothing like partying with Asian developers, let me tell you. I mean, you guys are fun, but the Asian guys are nuts. And if you can't make it to Jam Asia, well, we're going to be doing the same event all over again in Amsterdam in early February. And that will be, by the way, right after BlackBerry 10 launch. So that will be a big party. Come on out. And that's really all I have to say. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak today. And I'm looking forward to RIM working and engaging deeply with the Qt community.
Questions? Oh, come on. I've been walking around this conference all the way to the back here.
Run, run, run.
Hey, hi. First, congratulations on the presentation. I really like it. Actually, I got 2 important questions. One is a more technical one. Second one is more users-oriented. I will start in reverse order.
Thank you, because I'm going to have to find someone to answer the technical one.
All right.
It's very technical.
Users question, can I play Angry Birds?
Yeah, actually, we launched Angry Birds on Playbook. And this is one of the things that you may not know, but if you built an application for a Playbook, you've built an application that will in all likelihood run with very few modifications on BlackBerry 10. It doesn't work the other way around. But anyway, so we've got Angry Birds, we've got Angry Birds Rio, we've got Angry Birds Space, we've got Angry Birds, what's the fourth title? Oh, I don't know about Star Wars yet, but anyway, yeah. So yeah, Angry Birds is there.
All right, so first question is, what are the steps to get my application certified so I can sell it and in 1 year get the 10K prize?
So what you need to do, there's a website that you, part of the web that has all the terms and conditions laid out. And I would encourage you to go to developer.blackberry.com and find that information there. I mean, at a very high level, build an application, go and get yourself a vendor ID, you'll need that, and submit the application to AppWorld. Once you've done that, there's a second test phase, which is, you know, if it's been accepted in AppWorld, that means it's an application that we know that works and you're a real live honest-to-God vendor. It doesn't say anything about the quality of the application. It doesn't say anything about the BlackBerry 10 experience that we're trying to create. So then what you do is you ask for your application to be run through the BlackBerry 10 certification criteria. And again, all the criteria are up on the web, and they're not too difficult to follow. Once that's done, then it's literally, if it's all done before January 21, you're set. That's all you have to do.
You have 2 developer centers on North America on the West Coast. Do you have any plans for the East Coast, like near Washington, D.C.?
We actually, so the map is a little bit incorrect. The prototype for the developer center was actually at Communitech in Waterloo, Ontario. So that's where there is one. I think, Ash, do you know if Tom's planning one in Philadelphia? No, Pittsburgh, I mean?
I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm not sure, but we're opening these things up in lots of different places, and you should expect to see more of them coming along. And virtual events too. One of the things that we're doing this coming weekend is a virtual gaming portathon. So developers from RIM will be available online, and there'll be seminars and webinars that you can attend and find out about porting a game. It's specifically targeted at game developers. I think we have 316 people signed up to participate in that. So where we can't physically put a center, we'll run a virtual event as well.
Do you allow open source applications into the store?
Yes, with a caveat. And I'm still working through this with our legal department, and it's a legacy of the old RIM. And that is that applications that are that have open source licenses that are GPL v3 are prohibited. And there's some concern about whether or not GPL v3 would in some way expose us to the viral nature of that license. And we need to work through that. But I mean, LGPL, absolutely, GPL version 2, any other kind of open source license that's sort of BSD-like, those kinds of things, all of them, yeah.
Okay, is BlackBerry 10 coming to the Playbook later, and will apps then be cross-compatible between phones and tablets?
Yeah, BlackBerry 10 will come to Playbook. We have publicly said that we are going to ship the first device that we ship will be an all-touch device. Shortly after that, we're going to ship a classic BlackBerry QWERTY device, and then Playbook will be the next platform that gets targeted after that. So what you've got today is a scenario where you can build an application on Playbook using the Playbook OS as it stands now, and it will run on BlackBerry 10 devices substantially unmodified. I mean, you'll find that there are finger targets and those kinds of things that need to be optimized because the Playbook is a 7-inch form factor, right? But your code will run, in most cases, out of the box, and then you have some tweaking to do afterwards. What's not true is if you build a BlackBerry 10 application that it will run backwards compatible on tablet OS, on Playbook OS, right? And that's the intent, is that you'll be able to, in the future, build an application that you can run on BlackBerry 10 on a Playbook and on the other 2 form factors as well.
can I offer application only on my website? So have I put it in the store?
Yeah, and that's one of the very controversial decisions that we've made, and the answer is no. We are in the process of shutting down different vectors to get applications onto the device. You'll be able to get applications on the device in two ways. One of them is by putting it in our store, and the other is if you're an enterprise, you can get a BlackBerry enterprise server, and you can create a catalog of applications that will then be available through what's called Enterprise App World on the device. And it's a controversial decision, but we've been watching what's been going on in the Android world, and the way in which malware has taken on such prominence there, and we simply don't want to go down that path. A lot of people accuse us of wanting to do this for profits, but the store runs at a break even, so that's simply not true. It's more about our users and what we hear from them. Yeah. Follow on.
He was talking about malware. I know that maybe any magazine tested 100 of iPhone apps, free iPhone apps, and approximately 80% of them are has included malware. So are you doing something against that, or do you say, okay, if it's free and the people are downloading software that includes malware, then it's their problem?
Yeah, it's there are two things. They should be more clear. So malware, definitely. I have a team of 30 people in Bali who do nothing but test applications. It's a nice job to have. I live on the beach in Bali and test applications. But anyway, what they do is they test applications as they come into the store. And they're looking for bad behavior. They're looking for copyright infringement and IP infringement, and they're looking for obvious signs of malware. Having said that, it's not perfect, right? It's very difficult to do that kind of testing, and we're building tools internally that will allow us to examine the behavior of the application and make those determinations more quickly. You got somebody right behind you.
You mentioned open source in your presentation. What's the future for QNX? Will it be as freely available as Qt?
Good question. No. We're enthusiastic users of open source. We're enthusiastic contributors to open source projects like WebKit, like Qt. But we are also, how would I put it? Pragmatic open sourcers. We're not idealistic about wanting to open source everything. We believe that IP has value, and I mean, QNX was, our shareholders would kill us. It cost us $300 million, and there's 30 years worth of code there. Anyway. Wow.
Yeah, it could have been further, but hopefully.
But
yeah.
we're going to put some blocks down here and a starter's gun, and you know.
Right. So since we're at a Qt conference, I might mention something relating to the previous question called dual licensing.
Called which? Sorry.
Dual licensing.
Yes.
So a GPL version of QNX would not necessarily be a financial problem for you guys.
You know, those are decisions above my pay grade. Okay. Now we've got a question right here in the front row. No, just. Over here.
Anyone here at the back?
Yes, we're over here.
So Apple is famous for not being transparent about approving applications. Can you tell us about transparency in your operation?
Sure. When you submit an application into the store, there is a team, as I said, of people that go through this, and they have a set of criteria that they apply. The criteria are published. They're up on the website. You can go and look at them for yourself. And you can see very quickly when you get feedback back from the store whether or not exactly what it was that caused your application to fail, the testing criteria. And more to the point, I publish my email address everywhere. We're on Twitter as well as a group. It's pretty easy to find us. And usually, if you're having trouble understanding why your application was rejected, within, I don't know, a day, I can get an answer out of the Bali team and get back to you. Okay? Yeah, I was an Apple developer for a while too, a BlackBerry developer, an Apple developer, and nothing drove me squirrelier than Apple's rejection criteria. Or worse yet, somebody accuses you of violating their IP and you get a DMCA takedown notice. And no opportunity to defend yourself. It's crap. Yes?
Actually, I have two questions.
Yep.
The first is, do developers have shell access to the device when they're developing on, and do they have root?
Shell, yes. Root, no. Each of these devices is secured, and developers, they don't get root access, no.
So this also applies for these alpha devices?
Yes, the alpha devices as well.
Okay. Next question is, do you have any kind of authorization framework so that, for example, users get asked before an application gets access to be allowed to send premium SMS or so?
Yeah, that's been a feature of BlackBerry for a very long time. It's interesting you asked the question because we have tended to err on the side of asking for authorizations for all kinds of things. And one of the things that we've learned is that those are actually fundamentally frightening things. We've interviewed users who say, we don't use applications because we're never sure what they're going to do because that big scary notice pops up, right? So we're working on different ways that we can present the authorization information in a more friendly fashion without toning down the amount of authorization that's required. One of the hallmarks of BlackBerry has been security for years and years and years. And one of the things that you didn't see in Ash's presentation was a feature that's called BlackBerry Balance. And what Balance does is it lets an IT administrator designate a portion of the device as being corporate liable, and then a portion of the device is being personal liable. So this whole bring your own device world, you can bring your device in, and the corporation can manage the part that you've given them permission to manage. And you can't do things like move content from one side to the other or move applications from one side to the other because it's firewalled off. It uses the QNX access control list system, the ACLs there, and it does what you would expect it to do. It's very good that way. So security is a big part of what we do. We just actually one of the things that we just did related to security was, I think we're the first device ever that has been pre-certified FITS 140 certification so that it can be purchased by the US government on the date that it actually ships. Big deal for us. And privacy, by the way. One of the things, somebody asked a question about the Built for BlackBerry certification. If you don't respect privacy, you won't get the certification.
Is there a Cascade social API, so I don't have directly to deal with the Twitter web servers, etc.?
I wish. I really do. This has been an ongoing source of discussion between us and all the major social networks. And at this point, there isn't an API that they will authorize us to use on the device to create those applications. You still have to deal with their API. So it would be great if there was. It really would.
A final question? Okay.
Thank you.
I have seen your traveling schedule, and I gotta say we are very honored that you would take the time to come over here to our conference and tell us a bit about that. So indeed, give him an extra hand, will you? Very pleased. Thanks so much.